Hello guys, my name is Cody Charlton. I'm 15. I go to Johnson County Early College Academy. Is my mouth good enough? Right here? Okay, I'm very bad at hearing myself. So about 5 years ago, I moved here to North Carolina from Vancouver, Portland. And in Vancouver, Portland, things were a lot different in my life than it is now. I'd say one of the biggest parts of my life growing up was that I loved dinosaurs. I was obsessed with dinosaurs. I loved everything about them. But what I loved most was how they came to be. I was obsessed with the idea of how from nothingness, random chance could bring up such amazing creatures. This is just another way of saying growing up I was an atheist. So I had this lack of faith in my life. And everything seemed great though. I mean, I was still a friendly guy. I wanted to be nice to everyone I knew. But there was just that one thing missing, which was God in my life. People have tried to bring me to God, and I thank them for it. They're great friends for doing so. But I feel like every time someone tried to bring me closer to God, I only strayed further. People would tell me that if I didn't believe in God, I'd go to hell. They tried to make me feel guilty about myself. And I didn't want to believe in a God that would just send me to hell and make me feel guilty. This is why I was obsessed with not only not believing in God, but disputing Him. But then I found out I had to move to North Carolina 5 years ago, and I didn't know what to expect. I knew it as the Bible Belt. I was almost scared. Everyone is going to make me feel guilty. Oh my goodness. Little did I know I'd be up here talking to you guys. In fact, if I met myself now, I wouldn't even believe it. I'd probably hate myself. But I'd say it's something amazing that just by moving, it took me less than a year to go from total atheist to someone who is head first into the love of Christ. Amen.
Amen.
It all started with something very simple. No one told me I was going to hell. No one said that I had to be guilty of anything. Some good friends of mine just said, hey, you want to come to church with me? I went with my mom and my sister, and I was super uncomfortable. Everyone was praying and singing. What the heck was going on? This is not right. But slowly, I came closer to Christ, even if I wasn't into it. In fact, when I started going to church, it wasn't Christ that brought me. It was the friendly people. It was the people who reached out their hand and said, hi, Cody Charlton. You're my friend. Thank you for being here. With that invitation, people invited me in. I kept coming to church, and the more I was in the church, the more used to church I got. And the more used to church I got, I think that's the closer to Christ I got. In 2012, I went to pilgrimage. It was a last-minute decision. I ran back into church right after youth group saying, you know what, I want to go, whatever, free food. Little did I know that pilgrimage would change my life forever. When I went there, I felt the power of God for the first time. I bawled my eyes out with all other 5,000 people there. It was beautiful. Less than a month after going to pilgrimage, I was baptized. And less than a year after that, I've talked to people about Christ. I've talked to my entire youth group with sermons about Christ. I've even told friends of mine about Christ who didn't know Christ. How many of you guys have friends that don't know Christ? See? It's everywhere. In fact, one of my friends is right here right now. His family, they believed in God, but they didn't go to church. Just by inviting him to church, his family got way better. There were many problems in their life, but because of church, their marriage was saved. So, through my life, I know it's not the most incredible story, but I think there's 3 important things to learn from what I've been through. That anyone can come to love God, no matter how hopeless it seems. All of you who have friends that don't know God, they can easily come to know God. The Bible, I'd say about 90% of it is stuff I would have agreed with when I thought I was an atheist. Because it's all about morals person. The only difference is God in your life. The second thing is that prayer is more powerful than anything. When I was trying to invite people to my church, I told my church, I said, hey, I'm trying to get these people to come to church. Will you pray with me that they come? And I think because of that, that's one of the reasons why they started coming. Even my father, he didn't go to a church for 40 years, and then suddenly he wanted to come with us grumbling about it, but now his life has changed. And the third thing I learned is that fellowship is the best way to make a Christian. Not coming to people, telling them all these crazy things about this stuff they've never heard of. Being their friend, saying, do you want to be with other great people? Getting them surrounded by Christ. That is the best way to make a new Christian. So even today, I still love dinosaurs, but for a bit of a different reason. I love looking at dinosaurs and knowing that this is one of God's great creations. This is a wonderful world to be in with God.